Hello, you wonderful people, and welcome to another episode of Not Too Comic Book. This being a show where we talk about TV shows that are adaptations of comic books. For today's episode, I'm going to talk about Medaka Kuroiwa is Impervious to My Charms, Season 1, Episode 8. Great episode. A lot of really interesting things went down in this episode, so let's break it down. So it is the Halloween party, and it's interesting amongst our trio of ladies, that being Asahi, Mona, and Tsubomi. She's the only one who changed her costume because she was like, oh, it's too embarrassing coming as like a fairy. So she's a ghost, but it's like a zip up all the way type of costume where she can like hide her face. And I was like, oh, I did not know how large the repercussions are going to be for her to change her costume like that, which I think is so interesting. It's because they never did show what Medaka's costume was going to be. We just know that it was beside the witch outfit and the mummy outfit. So I just think that's so fascinating because like Medaka never wondered like what it was exactly that Mona never thought like, oh, what did Medaka choose? But either way. And Asahi kept her costume, and Mona obviously changed hers to the witch one. Even Asahi's like, oh yeah, like you should yeah, it's probably a good thing. You probably would have had lifelong regrets if you actually went with the mummy costume. So but Asahi's perfectly fine with her costume being what it is. It's just, hopefully, because I think she specifically was like, yeah, Kuroiwa was like gave the cosign to it, so that's why she was perfectly fine sticking with it. So not the turn of events I was expecting. Her going back in to get her hat, and I was like, okay. And then the moment her dress splits open, I was like, okay, where's this going to end up going? I thought she was going to have to like walk around the entire party with her dress open like that. I thought that's where it was going to go. And then the ghost costume walk up. I'm like, it's not Tsubomi, is it? I was like, it's Medaka. That's hilarious. And she drags him into the room thinking it's Tsubomi. And he's like, oh God, I'm getting past to the point where I can tell her it's me because it's already embarrassing enough. I mean, it's not like he saw anything. He says that, but it's like, I mean, to be fair, you saw the back of her bra as a high schooler. Like, that's insane. As we're talking about an anime, so it's exponentially even crazier and more exaggerated. He's freaking out because at first he's like, what is she doing? Doesn't she realize? She's like, I'm a guy. Doesn't she know like the implications of this? But then she's like calling him Haruna, and he's like, what? Why is she doing it? Oh, she's mistaken me. I don't know. It's too late now. And so he's just like, all right, I'm going to zip it up. I thought he was going to mess it up worse because his hands were shaking, but he zipped it up. No problem. It's like, cool. And he's basically over there hyperventilating. And she's like, if you need to like breathe or whatever, maybe you should like unzip the costume. And she does and sees that it's Medaka, and they both freak out. I was not expecting her to find out. I was, but I thought what was going to happen, the twist there was going to be Mona leaving the room, and then Haruno would be there in front of her with her ghost costume on. Is like, wait, if you're here, who is this? I thought that's where that was going to go, and that might turn to a whole slew of things. But no, she immediately finds out it was Medaka, and now it's like they're both kind of embarrassed in the aftermath of the whole thing. For her, it's like, well, he didn't really see anything, but it's still the thing of he like saw my back and stuff like that. So she's looking at it. I love that she never, usually she tries to take advantage of those situations, but it's because she got so embarrassed in that moment that it's like she can't look at the positive of, ooh, I'm swaying him even more. Because, all of this has been for the purposes of like getting to, still want to be on his lock screen. That's still like her number one mission in all of this. But then like Sho puts on like it's a mummy game. It's like you wrap the person up in toilet paper to make them, and whoever makes themselves to look like the best mummy wins. It's not typically boy and girl game, but Sho made it into one just to spice things up. And Medaka and Asahi are fighting over who's going to be Medaka's partner because they know he's number 8. The number 8 flies out of the box, and they both grab it at the same time. And I love Mona struggling so hard. Asahi looks like she's putting in no effort. And Mona's like, is this because she plays basketball? Why is this so tough? She's not struggling. She's not moving an inch. Why is this so tough? Oh my God, Kuroiwa. And she got distracted and got the ball taken from her. I was like, that is dirty. And Asahi ended up joining up with that other dude. And I love later on when it's like, oh, let's get ready for pictures and stuff, because like a whole bunch of girls later on run over to Medaka to ask him, oh, can we take a photo with you? And Asahi's like, hurry up and undo all the like toilet paper. He's like, okay, I'm doing it. And it's like, I love her motivation, being like, hurry up so I can get in there and try and take a photo with I can also going back to the Medaka and Mona. I mean Mona and Asahi thing really quickly. I love the back and forth where it's just like, oh, like she's like, I'm the younger one in this situation. Shouldn't the upperclassmen allow me to go? But then Mona's perspective was like, no, I'm the upperclassman. Shouldn't the younger student let me go? So it's just like, yeah, they're both. Because once again, Asahi's the only person who knows Mona's true intentions, but still looks at her as a fellow rival when it comes to Medaka. Either way, when it comes down to like Medaka and Mona, Medaka's so paranoid because of I wonder would he probably still would have the same reaction, but it's obviously a 10 times worse because of the like zipper situation. But I'm sure he would struggle with like trying to tightly wrap it around her because he's like keeping it super loose. Just because it's like I don't want to even touch her body, and it's like, to be fair, it kind of makes sense because you're going like some of that you're wrapping around her backside, so it's like, yeah, it's a lot. And Mona wants to win so she can take the photo, so it's like, no, we have to win, and so she ties it a very specific way just to like make it fit. And he's like, this is even more like seductive and stuff like that. What's going on? And she should pulls him in closer. It's like, you need to make this happen. Let's go. And he just freaks out. He's like, no, I can't do it. And so they end up losing to Haru. Tsubomi and her partner, and it's like, I wonder if it's because of her costume that made that so much easier. I mean, especially because I think Tsubomi didn't have to worry about like feeling as, because it's like a bulkier costume, so she doesn't have to worry about it being as tight. Plus, she was able to zip it all the way up. So I think it just, I don't know. I just think it all worked out. Despite Tsubomi being nervous about having like a male partner, I think it all worked out in the end. And Medaka took that as, Mona took that as like a two front hit because it's like, for one, I lost. I think there's the ego thing of when I set my mind to something, I want to win. And the fact is I lost. That's an ego blow. But also it was my one opportunity to get a photo with Medaka. But then like all these other girls walk over and like, oh, let's get a photo. He's like, he tried to say no, but they did it. And he's in basically shell shock mode, and they just take the photos, and it's getting Mona more and more irritated. She's like, it's fine. He's going to delete those later anyway. Oh, you have to get all close to him just for the photo. Okay, it's my turn. And then when she tries to take a photo with him, he panics and he's like, no. And so later on, when they take the group photo, she's looking so angry at him because for her, it's like, you took photos with all those other girls, but you couldn't do one with me. Like maybe if Mona had sadly snuck in ahead of time, who knows? Because he was overloaded by that moment. Because he's like, I never really took photos with girls until now, and it's just too much. And it's just, once again, he's got his preconceived notions about, and Sho and their buddy, was it Yuzu, had to like call him out for like his perspective on things of like, you can be friends with girls, you don't have to be so like anal about it. But for him he's got his preconceived notion of what it means to like not be tempted, and it's just like, as long as you don't give in to the temptation, it's fine. But it's okay, you're entitled, you have eyes, it's okay to see, like I said, he's just swinging the pendulum so far the other way because he thinks this is what he needs to be. I don't know whether this is, because we know it's him inheriting his family's like temple and stuff, but we haven't met his parent, or like, I don't know if it's a grandparent, like a grandfather or a dad. Like, we don't know what his family situation is. It's an anime/manga, so there's always a good chance we never will. But I like to get insight into understanding why Medaka has his perspective on it, because I'm wondering like his family, whether it's his mom, dad, grandfather, whoever it is that he's kind of like inheriting all this from. Because you never know, it could always skip a generation. Like maybe it's his grandfather and he's inheriting it, or it could be his grandfather or grandmother he's inheriting it from, and maybe it skips over his mom or dad or whatever the case may be. But it's like, why does he have, like, is it like he's probably internalized this so much about what it should be? I mean, who knows? Maybe it's like, no, he is going by like the standards his family has, or maybe he misconstrued the standards his family set forth. So they'd probably be like, why are you freaking out so much, Medaka? This is perfectly fine. Like I said, I hope we do get insight to it. It's not a spoiler, but I would want someone to know who is familiar with the manga. Like, is that, you don't have to get, you can keep it super vague, but do we ever kind of find out why Medaka has such a like, why he's so anal about having this perspective on life? This is how I keep my mind clear of the temptation and stuff like that. Like, that he can't even take photos or be friends with girls. Like, why he had that preconceived notions until like showing them kind of helped like break him of that to some extent, but it's still there. So either way, when it came to the photo, Mona was so pissed off at him, she looks at him and calls him a dumbass. It's like, wow. Like, it's one of those moments where like the mask kind of fell in front of Medaka. It rarely does. Like, I mean, yes, when she gets embarrassed, sure, but she keeps up her cutie like persona. But then like there are moments where the mask slips, and that's one of those moments where she was visibly irritated, and she was just like so annoyed. And he talks to Sho and them about it. And they're like, wait, what? He was just like, yeah, I was so overloaded. And they were like, yo, that's super messed up. All the goodness she shares with you, puts it out there, and you shut her down like that. And especially because they point out like, yo, she even picked a costume that she knew you would like. And he didn't really think about that. It's like, yeah, she did show up as a witch, and he didn't even like, it didn't even cross his mind. He was so caught up in like everything else that like those details like slipped his mind. So he starts feeling bad. He's like, yeah, I should apologize to her. But when he's given the opportunity in front of Mona, he panics and runs away because he hasn't prepared himself yet to kind of talk about all that. And just seeing her and feeling so disgusted with himself, or beating himself up for feeling like, oh, that's such a douchey thing I did to her. So he runs away. And now Mona's feeling frustrated because now she's blaming herself, because she's like, oh, because I acted that way yesterday, now he's avoiding me. And so he's looking at it like, oh, it's my fault. I don't know how to apologize properly. She's feeling bad, being like, oh, like I'm the reason why. For her, it's like, I already knew Medaka already had his walls up, but that was already kind of like coming down a little bit as time is going on, and now those walls are sky high again. And for her, it's just like, this is my fault. So she wanted to make up for it. They're going to be cleaning, like, was it the Japanese prep room together? And she's tempting him by just like shaking her butt as she's like cleaning. He panics and like tries to run away. She chases after him, spills water on him. And now for her, it's just like, every time I'm trying more and more, I'm just making things worse. And she's like, it's to the point I want to cry now. But even she's like, why am I getting so frustrated? She was just like, that doesn't make any sense to me. And because it's like, once again, it's like she kind of got a little jealous. Once again, you might not have the most altruistic reasons why you're trying to get close to Medaka. It's to feed your fragile ego, but it's still the thing of, it still bothered you because you do like him, whether you've realized it or not. So I thought that was fascinating. But ultimately, they both apologize at the same time, and then Medaka explains things like, yeah, I've never really taken photos with girls, and I just got overwhelmed. It wasn't like you specifically, it's just I couldn't take anymore, so like you just happened to be the person I said no to. So he is apologizing. And she's like, no, it's okay. It's like, I totally understand. And then Sho and Home Dude walk in. Like I said, it's like Yuzu walk in, and you're just like, wait, have you made zero progress? And here you are slacking off. So it seems for now like everything is okay. They're in a good spot. I figured as much. I thought the photo that he was going to use, it's like, well, he'll just use the group photo, won't he? But then like the photo that got sent to him is the one that we saw Tsubomi take earlier in the episode of them together, like from each other. And for a moment, he had it as his lock screen, but then he freaked out and changed it back to the cat. So I don't know. Like, it could always be that. I mean, it seemed like he changed it back, but it's like, well, as you know, like, you can't have two separate ones. You can have one for your lock screen, and you can have one for just the background of your phone. So not unless he set the photo of him and Mona as like the background and the cat is just lock screen, but probably not, because he was fiddling with it and the cat came back up. So it seems like he put that back there. So Mona will probably never know that even for an instant she won to some extent, but he didn't keep it there. That was the issue. So we'll see where things kind of go from here in the aftermath. I doubt she took this L, and she's probably going to keep it, being like, all right, it's fine. I didn't get to be at the back of his lock screen, but maybe she'll go through his phone eventually and see that he still kept those photos, even though like he always deletes the ones, like the one that's all of them together, which, the photo's still special in its own right because everyone's staring forward except for those two looking at each other. She's scowling at him. He's looking like, wait, what happened? Is she mad at me? Makes it a very unique photo in that capacity, but also Tsubomi sent the photo of them together. I'd assume she would also send, I'd assume she'd send it to, that she would send it to Mona as well. To be fair, it almost kind of, I guess, makes up for the photo she was initially sending that last episode that Mona was so adamant about deleting first. So it's kind of interesting that, it's like, I hope you gave her heads up that you were going to send that photo, but probably sent it to both of them at the same time, or sent it to one and then sent it to the other, whatever the case may be. And our little tease at the end is we get introduced to not only Mona's friend, but her best friend. We're going to get a proper introduction because based on the title of the episode. So yeah, it's going to be interesting to learn who she is and like what her dynamic is with Mona. I previously guessed like, right, she's probably the person that sees through Mona's BS of like the whole cute thing. It's like, I'm not enamored with you. Once again, her friend being a girl is a little different than like a boy not being enamored. But we've seen both boys and girls have been captivated by her charm. But her friend's probably like, yo, I've seen through your bullshit. Whereas like Medaka, it's like, you're a boy not falling for my charms. That's an extra, irks her nerves. So we'll see. We'll have to wait to see what their situation is. Like I said, it does seem like she goes somewhere else to school or whatever, because she is just arriving in Tokyo. So and we do see in like the opening stuff, she has the same uniform. So she's I guess transferring to the school for it whatever reason. So I mean, to be fair, like not Medaka, Mona hasn't been here that long either, because she's from Osaka originally, and I'm assuming her friend is too. So like, I guess maybe just to follow Mona, she's transferring here, or maybe she has ulterior other motives for coming here. But either way, I'm interested to see where all of this ends up taking us going forward into the next episode. But really, that's all I wanted to talk about. Till the next time we meet, be happy, be safe, live life to the fullest, and enjoy it. Good day and goodbye.